Hello, hello, hello. One with one, I think has a better ring to it. We are growing together because we are the same thing. As I am teaching, right, which is just me remembering and talking, exploring my own thoughts in front of this camera, and whoever resonates, right? What I'm really doing is getting my own concepts and ideas firm into who I am, embodying them. Because once you explain something, you really understand it better, and eventually, some of the things that I think are correct, um, I'm gonna see that they have holes in it. So what am I gonna do then? I'm gonna realize, oh, okay, this is actually something that, when said out loud, it's not such a strong idea. And I will let you know in the video during when that happens, because this is very very spontaneous. All I have for this video is a very brief explanation, not really, even just a small title saying this one is "you don't exist." And from that idea, I just go into explaining it from my perspective, how is it possible that you or me don't exist, or at least the idea that we have about you or me. I think it's a fascinating topic, and that's why I wanted to make it in this second video. Anyone watching this, I'm gonna assume that is spiritually inclined, which is the main topic of my videos. So from what I have gathered from my experience, I have seen that there are a lot of commonalities between different spiritual practices and different religious um, groups or doctrines. Which, again, spirituality is not to be confused with with religion, right? Spirituality is the whole of it. Religion is a it's a smaller, it's within spirituality, and it's one of the ways to get to the wholeness, right? But there are many ways, right? And every time a religion kind of like claims that their method is the only method, then you should probably stay away from that religion, because that religion has not understood that there's as many methods as there are men to get close to the source and to the universe. You don't need to follow a specific set of rules to do it. It's all like every person has their own path. So I digress. What I have seen is a commonality between all of these practices, and it seems that one of their main objectives, what we want to do, is to go beyond the ego, or reveal it completely and see it for what it is, so that it stops taking away your power. The ego is a tricky concept, and I mean, it was explained to me in philosophy classes when I was in high school, and I didn't understand any of it. I used to think that ego, like up to not 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, it's kind of like, oh yeah, an egotistical person is a person who simply thinks that they are like so good, too good to be true. But it turns out the ego is a very very vast concept that has many different personality types. So they all want to transcend that ego, because it is a false identity. It is something that it's an attachment that you have, right? And they say that all suffering comes from attachment, right? When we suffer in a relationship, when the other person leaves, because we were attached to that person. We suffer because we lose material things, so we have attachments, so many attachments, that it just keeps us, it slows us down, because we can't go as fast because we are attached to many things, and we are going that way, right? We're going that way into spiritual progress. We need to let go of all the things that are keeping us slow. One of my mentors, he used to say, if you want to be light, as in light like this, you have to travel light, as in weight. But because of your weight, you're gonna have to wait. You can't travel fast you can't progress spiritually, at least not at the rate that you would probably want to, if you are if you have too many attachments, because your energetic body is just gonna be with all these cords that are not letting it keep going, right? So the biggest attachment of them all is the attachment to your identity, your ego, right? And that is a completely mind-made concept. The ego and your identity is too. It's not real. It's just what you're like since you were born, or at least this body in this incarnation. Since you were born, you had a blank slate of a mind, and then from that point onward, it was just filled with stuff, stories, experiences. And what you have gathered from those experiences is this concept called Pablo, or you know, whatever your name is. And that is our identity, but it's not who we are. Pablo is not who I am. It's just a tag, a name. The identity, the role that I have played is not who I am. It's just an identity that I have played. So they say that from that attachment, they stem all of the other attachments. And what does it mean? How could this be? When I say that this body is my body, right? Because some people are like, oh, I know I'm spiritual. I'm spiritual. I know I'm not the body. I'm the soul. I am. It's like I have a soul and I have. Okay, cool. So if you're not the body, but that you say this is my body, okay. So who is my, right? Who is that person claiming that that thing is theirs? Who knows, right? And then we have, oh, I'm not my mind either, but it's mine. It's my mind. Okay, cool. You're not your thoughts. You're not your mind. You're not your ego. Then who are you? Because there's a person claiming the body. There's an entity claiming the body, claiming the mind, claiming the soul. They have, oh, my soul, my higher self. Even the people who think they're really, really spiritual. Okay, who is this entity who keeps claiming the higher self, the everything, right? Who is this person behind the scenes who's creating? That is the ego. Because you're still thinking of me and the rest, as in there's anything aside from everything. It's just whole, right? But the moment we say I, mine, my, me, we are separating ourselves from everything into I'm here and then the rest of it is there. And that creates division, which in turn brings fear. And that's the ego's favorite food, right? So once you realize that there is no I, there is no me, there is no Pablo, definitely, that it's all we, us, then you no longer take anything that you have as in yours, because you don't even, your identity is not even yours, it doesn't exist. Then at that moment you start accepting the reality of a wholeness, which leads to much more compassion, much more understanding. It causes every single other attachment that you had, they fall away, because that one is kind of like the head of it, the biggest attachment, your identity. You think you're something, you're everything, and you're nothing. But from that attachment, all of the other ones are there. If you take that one away, all of them fall off. And that's the moment you really, it's not like, I'm not going to say that's the ultimate goal in spirituality, but it's an important milestone for the people who are in that spiritual path in this third dimension, for the vast majority, right? It is definitely for me, because I'm talking about this and it doesn't mean that, oh, I'm all high and mighty, that I don't, that doesn't even happen to me. I still have an ego sometimes. I'm working on it. The best thing to do is to start looking at yourself every time that you say something that is angry or jealousy or sadness or whatever, like low emotions, you know, every time you have a low emotion, just ask yourself, who just who just said that, or who just felt that way? Is it my ego, right? Is it me clinging to this identity and taking everything personal, right? And then most of the times you're gonna find out that, oh, it was the ego, right? And it's not making the ego the enemy. It's just like a character that is there, and we gotta understand it, and we don't have to take it so seriously all the time. The ego stays there, like you still have your personality, because you have a role to play in this humanity for the rest of your life. Doesn't mean that you're gonna be that guy who walks around and says, Pablo is like, I'm not Pablo, I don't even exist. That's not the idea. Just, there's no need for that. As long as you understand it, you don't have to make everyone all confused, because not everyone's gonna understand what you're saying, right? So as long as you know it and you're observing that character, it's almost like you're walking all day watching a movie, right? Like all the things are not really happening to you, they're just happening to this expression of you, this, like, yeah, this other concoction of your human experience, which is the ego, the identity, right? So it really helps disassociate yourself from all the drama of your life, and it allows you to look at it, like, you know how good it is when you look at your friend's life and you just say, oh my god, it's so obvious what he needs to do, right? It's because when we have a third person's view, like another perspective, it's just we can see it without being so emotionally attached, and feeling like that is happening to us. It is, but you don't think so, so that makes all the difference. But with your identity, you feel like everything is happening to you. You take it personally. It's not it, right? It's not. You don't have to take it personally. But if you're attached to it, if you feel like that's you, then you're not gonna have a very good perspective of your life, and what's happening. This is a very, very complex topic to explain, at least for me, because I had an idea before, and then I kind of like something else clicked, and I was like, okay, I think this is solid enough so that I can communicate it, because I don't want to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about here, right? Like, I've been chewing on this idea, and I feel that it is quite accurate, and it resonates a lot with me. A lot of people have told me the same, right? So I want to elaborate farther from here. I think the basic premise is set. Now, anyone watching this video, please, if you feel like there's something you want to add that hasn't been said on this video, comment. First of all, subscribe if you haven't. Then comment if you do have some sort of addition to this idea, or if you think something should be corrected, or something is not accurate. Go ahead, please, because I want to explore all of its potential holes. And also, if you don't want to comment publicly, reach out to me. You can message me. This is gonna be on YouTube. I might send it to some people on WhatsApp, Facebook. But just message me in whatever platform you can. And if you want to talk more about this, and if you've been having kind of like this type of work, this type of working through your ego, and you want to get some tips on how to do it better, how to interpret better what's happening, um, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say, guys. All right, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure as always.